The federal election is in full swing, and some political leaders are already taking swipes at each other over vaccinations. Mandatory vaccinations became the first major wedge issue between political parties on the federal campaign trail. The liberals and conservatives have clashed over making vaccines mandatory for federal public servants. Experts are worried that if the debate is not done carefully, it could cause damage to public health efforts. With us to talk more on this matter is Dr. Dasantila Golemi-Kotra, a professor of microbiology at York University. Ma'am, welcome to Forum Daily.
Thank you for having me on your show.
Now, given the election is being held as the Delta variant is surging, are you concerned that the election process may hurt the vaccination effort?
No, I'm not concerned that the election process per se would hurt or have a negative impact on the vaccination efforts. This is not the first election that is occurring in Canada during the pandemic, and there is no data or studies that show that the earlier elections have had any impact on the vaccination process.
Now, meanwhile, we do have concerns from people on the front lines regarding using vaccination as a political toy. So what could be at risk if parties start this kind of debate?
So far, 82% of Canadians that are eligible to get vaccinated have received a single dose, and 70% of those that are eligible are fully vaccinated. So we have done very well, thanks in part to not politicizing the vaccination. But nonetheless, because Delta variant is so transmissible and we are seeing a surge of Delta cases, it is important that all of those that are eligible to get vaccinated do get vaccinated. So getting lost in political rhetorics, we run the risk of losing that remain eligible Canadians to get vaccinated. They are already on the fence, and any confusion or any lack of trust as to what vaccination means indeed for all Canadians to be protected runs the risk of losing that stretch of population.
Now, the debate around vaccination right now is often framed as individual rights versus the public good. But is there a deeper context to this issue, ma'am?
I think there is actually. All of us want to get back to the normal life that we had pre-pandemic. And at the same time, we want to be safe and have those around us remain safe and be safe. So how do we go about achieving that? Vaccination is the most effective tool to really protect ourselves and protect those around us and those that cannot get vaccinated. So any discussion about vaccination has to be done very carefully, and also details how to support vaccination, how to reach those most vulnerable. It has to be done with clear and details and transparency.
All right, ma'am, just over a minute left here, but considering that this is still early in the campaigns right now, what are your thoughts on how political leaders have handled this discussion so far?
So pandemic is a health crisis. As such, we have any debate about vaccination has to be done carefully and based on the health experts' advices and recommendations, as well as based on the examples around the world and here in Canada. We have done very well. So hence, we have to really rely on what we have done so far, what has worked, and remain focused rather than create any unnecessary confusion.
All right, ma'am, 45 seconds here, but if you could advise political parties on how to frame vaccination discussions, what would you suggest?
So the pandemic has impacted everyone, right? The virus doesn't recognize politics. And mandating health measures is not new, has been done in the past and has been done during this pandemic. For example, mandating face covering whilst indoors, and it has served us quite well during this pandemic. So as such, mandating vaccination should be seen as providing clear guidance what is expected. Rapid testing also has been used here in Canada and around the world in order to get a snapshot as to where the virus is and accordingly react to it. But also has been used to gauge the status of an individual, not to infect others if that individual is infected. So we have the tools. And actually, when you look at it, these tools provide an opportunity for all political parties to come together in a united front to deal with the matter in hand, that this health crisis, and as such, not to unfortunately, lead to any further confusion. We have the tools in place. Let's use them to deal with this crisis and get out of this crisis as soon as possible, and hopefully get back to a normal life as soon as possible.